Do you affirm that the words you are about to speak will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? The silence that follows feels significant. When the witness finally sits, the account begins, not just about one tragic loss, but about the questions that remain about the system meant to protect us. Complex situations aren't always clear. Sometimes they involve official statements and press releases. Charlie Kirk's profound impact on the nation. The initial report was straightforward: a shooter identified, a suspect arrested, an investigation declared. But as the days unfolded, questions began to be raised. The timeline, the evidence, even the statements, none seemed to align perfectly. Authorities stated they had a suspect, but when official communications are issued quickly, details can sometimes be incomplete. If Tyler Robinson was not witnessing, may be a significant instance of the justice process facing challenges. And if those involved in the investigation face difficulties, then the situation isn't just about two men, it's about a process that many are following. Stay with us, because every part of this account reveals a complex situation. What's about to be discussed may provide new information about this case. In the days following the tragedy, an initial account took shape, prompt, emotional, and aimed at addressing a concerned public. Tyler Robinson, they said, was the shooter. The investigation proceeded, but initial accounts can evolve as more information is reviewed. Digital timelines were examined. Messages were found that placed the suspect in a different location. Some individuals spoke to reporters mentioning they saw another person, someone walking away from the area. These accounts received varying levels of coverage. Why? Because the flow of public key information often develops as an investigation continues. Did those involved in the investigation encounter challenges, or were they working with the information available at the time? If Robinson was not involved, his arrest would be a serious matter. And that development raised a question. What happens when a judicial process is ongoing and facts are still emerging? When an individual is accused, the situation affects multiple lives, and that's a dimension of this account. Every investigation reviews digital information, but this one involves specific details. The case included reference to online messages, chats reportedly linked to Tyler Robinson on a platform called Discord. Those messages became a part of the case, presented as information for the court. But later, the company provided a statement. Those words were not direct logs from Robinson's account. They were fragments of conversation, parts of discussion shared by others, referenced, restated. Yet in the courtroom, these aspects were part of the discussion. A reference statement was part of the testimony. The timeline was part of the examination. Timestamps were compared with confirmed locations, and questions were raised, questions that became part of the record. Was Robinson active online when the incident occurred? Or did another person reference his name, including him in a discussion instead of directly? And while the defense noted these points, the judicial process continued as the case moved through the system. When digital information is involved, it can either provide clarity or require careful analysis. In any major case, forensic analysis is a component: DNA, ballistics, fingerprints. But here, the forensic analysis involved specific discussions. Investigators identified to the scene, yet documentation showed the chain of custody was part of T. Review. Questions were part of the record about when the firearm was collected, how it was stored, and whether procedures were followed. The prosecution suggested possible connections between Robinson and the evidence, but when specialists reviewed the samples, results were described as partial, mixed, or requiring further interpretation. Instead of definitive conclusions, the analysis prompted further discussion. Inside the courtroom, these topics were part of the proceedings. Robinson's defense suggested the evidence was limited, potentially requiring more context. They filed motions requesting information. Were the tests conducted under time constraints? Were results presented completely or interpreted differently by those involved in the case? This is part of the process between information and interpretation, a process this case has highlighted. Because when evidence is part of a larger context, it is reviewed within that framework. Beyond the news reports and court proceedings are individuals. Charlie Kirk was known as a public speaker. In his final days, he was active, speaking, sharing perspectives, engaging. His absence is felt by those who knew him, and Tyler Robinson, the man involved in the legal process, has his own experience. To some, he's a name connected to a case. To others, he's part of a discussion about judicial processes. He experienced an environment of discussion, differing viewpoints, social conversations, and now a trial that is part of his story. Whether he was involved, present, or connected to the events is part of the ongoing process. But one thing is observed. Both men's lives are now part of a situation that unfolded. Utah Valley University and a campus of learning now has seen gatherings, moments of reflection, and questions. This isn't just a case anymore. It's part of a broader discussion about what justice involves. Every major case operates within a framework of protocols, and this one involved a review of standard practices. The situation included a working relationship between the FBI and the Anti-Defamation League, ADL. A collaboration described as focusing on specific issues. But when assessments referenced Kirk's work as containing potentially strong viewpoints, questions were part of the discussion. Later, federal agencies updated their approach to such assessments. Collaborations that were previously publicized were reassessed. Why at this time? Why during a case that was already complex? Was this a procedural update or a reconsideration of approach? Each development added to the public's attention. For many, this trial represents more than the individuals directly involved. It reflects a public conversation between citizens and the systems that serve them. Every ongoing question is part of that discussion. Before any legal decision is reached, public conversation often occurs. Following Charlie Kirk's social media contained discussion, hashtags, live streams, petitions, various expressions of opinion. Those noting aspects of Robinson's case suggested the process had complexities. Others pointed to the information presented as being clear and the process as necessary. But between these perspectives exists a significant factor, the challenge of information accuracy. Unconfirmed statements can spread quickly. A single claim can become a topic. A detail can become a focus. While families experience loss, the online discussion can become a separate entity. This is the modern public square, one where perspectives form before legal processes conclude. As hearings continue, the courtroom remains the forum where information is presented. Defense counsel is focusing on the digital evidence, requesting full documentation of the discord records. They are examining the handling of forensic materials, noting every aspect that may require clarification, but questions remain part of the process. Was Robinson the only individual considered? Were other people potentially involved? And why does some information remain under review? Each session provides either new information or maintains the status quo. Until the process concludes, Charlie Kirk's legacy and Tyler Robinson's situation remain part of an ongoing procedure, both within a justice system that is determining the facts. Because this case, beneath all the procedures and documentation, is about individuals. Families who've experienced loss, communities that are affected, and a nation observing how its systems function. The judicial process is detailed, like a complex mechanism. Once initiated, it can be reviewed or assessed, but always follows its course. And for everyone affected by this tragedy, the process continues. Justice operates within its framework. It requires examination and participation in the process.